You're watching Education for Health Professional Regulators of Ontario, colleges under the Regulated Health Professions Act. Richard Steinica is a senior partner of Steinica Mikura LeBlanc, and he practices exclusively in the area of professional regulation. Richard is a noted author of the Complete Guide to the Regulated Health Professions Act, which, because of its comprehensive nature, has been cited by courts and tribunals, even in cases dealing with non-health professions. Marshall Molesky is the past president of the Federation of Health Regulatory Colleges of Ontario, and he serves as Chief Executive Officer and Registrar of the Ontario College of Pharmacists. Join Marshall and Richard now as Marshall poses a number of important questions on behalf of those of us who want to know more about regulating healthcare practitioners in Ontario.
Richard, I have a strong sense that the public expectations about the kinds and the amount of information that's publicly available has changed. What do you think?
Definitely. You can no longer simply say, trust us. And I think this accompanies the whole concept that we talked about, that accountability has increased over the years. So transparency can instill public confidence in the profession, and secrecy can excite suspicion about the profession. And now it's becoming technologically possible. With websites, we can put information available to the public that just a few years ago were not readily accessible.
How does the college balance privacy and transparency? At one time it seemed that information about individual practitioners was kept private unless and until a finding was made against the practitioner. That approach no longer seems to apply. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I'd agree that values are definitely changing quickly in this area. And we now think, I think the public generally accepts that where there's a risk of harm, the public should know it. And so the old distinctions about unproven concerns should never be public, or all process information should be public, no longer fully apply. I think what the public now expects is that since the information is readily available, why wouldn't you put information that would help someone make a choice about their practitioner available to the public?
How are colleges making more information about its processes public?
Well, I think there's been an acceptance that processes need to be put on the website. And this started really with the Fairness Commissioner requiring that internal policies on how registration committees make decisions be available on the public register, and that's expanded now to other activities and programs, for example, complaints committees and discipline processes. And there's been a look at how the website should be operating. The website needs to be easily navigable. There should be plain language. Individuals with disabilities should be able to access the website, as should French language speakers.
Can you give me some other examples of the college being transparent about its processes?
Yeah, a lot of the programs and activities of the college are now done in public. So regulations and most bylaws, there's a public consultation. There's annual reports to the Minister, Fairness Commissioner, and others. Council meetings and discipline hearings are held in public, and even appeal board hearings of complaints and registration matters are held in public. And the public register is readily available to the public.
Many practitioners are quite interested in knowing what information will be posted about them in the college's public register, which is maintained on the college's website. How does that work?
Well, first of all, there are some mandatory core issues that have to be public in the legislation for all colleges. The name and registration status and business address of practitioners, any terms, conditions, limitations, or past suspensions or past revocations. Also, any upcoming discipline hearings and the outcomes of those discipline hearings, and any finding of professional negligence. In addition to the core mandatory things, colleges are also have the option of putting additional information on the public register by making a bylaw. And colleges are becoming more and more uniform in doing this. So you're seeing a pattern where significant dispositions by the ICRC, like a caution or remediation program, are put on the register, or bail conditions or criminal charges or relevant criminal findings are on the public register. Or if someone's registered with another college, the fact they're registered there and any discipline findings there are made available. Now, there are some circumstances in which information can be withheld, but they're pretty rare. The main one is if someone's individual safety is put in jeopardy, then information, presumably contact information, will be withheld. Also, if information is obsolete and no longer relevant, like an old advertising infraction, or if it would disclose excessive personal health information about a practitioner, that might be withheld. Or if a very minor finding was made at discipline and 6 years have passed, you can have a pardon procedure that would take that information off the register. So let's take a scenario that might illustrate this. A practitioner was suspended for 2 months by the discipline committee for breaching confidentiality when the practitioner sold client information to a business marketing products to new mothers. The practitioner is also being stalked by her former boyfriend. She asks that nothing be placed on the public register. The registrar looks at the request and says, you know what, the finding that's made against you, that should be on the public register, but the contact information about you, that we will take off so that the person stalking you cannot locate you.
Thank you.